I mean, Godzilla movies have never been smart. They've actually been pretty dumb. It's not about realism. It's not like a CinemaSins thing where like that doesn't exist. It's impossible. It's like that's fine, wave it away. But even so, I still thought it was stupid.
I think, have you guys seen the Millennium era Godzilla movies?
What you're referring to?
Godzilla 2000 was a badass movie.
2000 kicked it off, and then there was like Tokyo SOS, and there's a couple others that were actually really good in that time period.
Yeah, the latter ones in the 2000s are pretty cheesy, but they set up what they wanted to do. They're decent stuff.
Godzilla.
2000 is an awesome film. I think.
2000.
Oh,
Godzilla, Final Wars.
Yeah, I do like the 2001. Yeah.
Yeah, Final Wars.
What's up? We're here to
Tokyo
talk about
SOS.
video games and beers, not Godzilla movies. Idiots.
I do remember the Godzilla cartoon TV show as a child. That was interesting.
With Matthew Broderick, or the likeness of Matthew Broderick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because after the film, I love that Godzilla film where they were like in what's it called, Madison Square Garden with all the bloody like eggs.
Turned into a horror film for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to Pixel Points, where obviously no one listens to me because I just told them to shut up talking about Godzilla and then they carried on. We're the only podcast that talks about two things that we enjoy, which is good beer and video games. We're not here to promote drink. Please drink responsibly. Broke my own rule last night. Any beers or breweries we're talking about aren't sponsoring us, neither are any video games, because we're here to talk about today game mechanics we hate. So we'll probably get, I don't know, hate mail from someone who loves Encumbrance, you weirdo.
Those people exist somewhere.
But before we get into that, do a quick round the room. Mitch, how are things in LA?
Good. It'll be nice and loud tonight because it's America's Independence Weekend, and we say "fuck you, Britain."
America's birthday.
So I will admit I do love how British people they're not insulted anymore by the fact we celebrate saying "f you." That I always hear from people from the UK going, you know, King George was a dick. So
he was completely around the bend.
Yeah,
he was known as the Mad King for a reason.
Yeah, so they're all just like, we get you. Like instead of us, we're all like, "fuck you, Britain," and then they're just like, "yeah, we get it."
So if we're going to carry on talking about films, one thing, that fabulous movie called The Rock.
Oh yeah,
with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery.
Sean Connery, Michael Biehn as well. Don't forget Michael Biehn.
That's right.
The bit where Sean Connery's getting beaten up by that big muscly guy who's like, "You limey bastard! My family were Irish." He's like, "Yeah, probably about 6 generations ago. You're probably about as Irish as I am." And also, he's Scottish.
Right.
He probably had far less to do with the persecution of Ireland than anyone else. You could just wander around do people in America just wander around beating people up because they sound moderately English?
I actually wouldn't put it past it based off like things that have happened recently with, you know, the quote unquote, which I think is horrible, which is China virus and us Americans beating up people of Asian descent. So I wouldn't be surprised if I hear a story about someone beating up someone that was British this weekend, which is kind of shitty. Not kind of shitty.
In real terms about the independence thing, they're all bloody British or European anyway, and they just didn't want to pay tax anymore, so they dumped the British tea that they were happy to drink back in the sea, and then all of a sudden declared themselves American. So really, you're just wow. We'll just leave it there.
So
if you go far back enough, yeah, totally.
I guess we were the first contributors to climate change because of killing the environment. Because we dumped a bunch of tea overboard, and now the Gulf is in flames.
It was biodegradable. It's fine. Dan, if you think about it, America should actually be thanking Britain because what did they give them? I don't know, language.
Yeah.
The system of government. So,
I'm sure there's a lot more, and I think there's a Monty Python sketch in there somewhere.
I'm sorry, religion.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Religion, even though we're supposed to be freedom of it, you know.
Yeah, that does. This is a whole another podcast.
I'd probably blame the Romans for that one.
I'm
You
too
were worried
tired for
about
this.
us talking about Godzilla for too long. What's going on?
Yeah, but it's okay when I take us off the rails.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
It's called double standards, like you and fun.
It exists.
So, Matt, what's the temperature in Las Vegas?
Oh shit! I don't have it up. I gotta find it.
How did you not know that question was?
Yeah, I know.
Thing.
It's what is it? It's like 39 C and 101 or something
So
Fahrenheit.
not as hot as British Columbia, specifically Lytton,
But
last,
not as hot as New
last
York.
week. I think
Didn't loads of people die because of the heat?
Yeah, they were-
Columbia.
People died
they
more
recorded
from
a
heat-related deaths.
49 degrees, the highest
Wow.
temperature ever recorded.
It's mental.
But I mean, people die of heat stroke every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I realised, but I just meant, wasn't there a large figure? Just
Oh,
around that?
it's
Yeah,
a
there's-
Possibly, yeah.
larger than before because unfortunately the infrastructure is not built to take the heat, and a lot of people don't have AC. So like apparently people tried to book hotel rooms, and hotel rooms were all booked, and then they had to like bring out buses so people could have AC inside something. It's
Yeah, the Pacific Northwest doesn't. It's not
but thank
equipped for this stuff.
God that Amazon in Seattle opened up one of their distribution centers and turned it into a cooling room. Thank God. Thank God for Amazon. So you've
There you
got Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and that gingerhead prick who runs Virgin.
Branson.
in a pissing up the wall competition about who can go to space whilst the
Yeah.
world burns. So you could amass all of their billions of dollars and pounds and pretty much come up with a new solution to climate change. But instead, they're having a dick measuring competition about who can go into space.
We're gonna have to.
Keith.
We're gonna have to be in space, dude.
And not only that, they are measuring the dicks of the actual spacecrafts to make sure that theirs is bigger.
They just keep getting longer. so much so that like they just climb it and they're already in space. They don't even have to leave.
They don't even have to.
Just climb a big ladder inside. You'll be there
They're
soon,
like,
guys.
man.
How long you
Yeah.
been climbing that ladder? Oh, it's been about like 12 hours. I think I got 12 more to go.
And then it's just a giant like fire station Ghostbusters like All the way down.
while you're playing the "Call Me by Your Name" song, just going down.
Sure, why not?
Right, Evan, how are things in Japan?
I want to say this is the best
Uh,
intro we've ever done so far.
Off the rails in all directions. It is January 3rd in Japan.
January.
Well, it's
Yeah, I was
January
gonna
3rd
say.
for all of us. Evan.
No, it's
It
July.
is-
July, actually.
Oh, sorry, it's July. Yeah. Holy shit.
I like how I looked at my watch and it actually says July 3rd on it, and I still said January. It's July 3rd. It's really hot in Japan. Burkoff, I think you know what time it is.
What time is it?
It's vest weather time, baby.
Oh, I didn't. I took my vest off. I should.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I
It's
should've
it's
worn
even
it.
hotter by you than it is here.
I know.
Okay, I'm good. So these are the Mario 30th anniversary amiibo, but I left this one on my subwoofer, which is in direct sunlight, so it got sun bleached,
Oh,
and
wow.
I couldn't have that. So for $50, I had to buy unopened versions of both of them.
Oh my god.
And when I got them,
I think you got a problem.
I immediately put them in a drawer under the TV, and my wife's like, "You have those?" I was like, "Yeah, I know." Like, well, why are you keeping them in the box? I'm like, "Do not ask questions you do not want to know the answers to." So,
The fact
Yeah.
that she just doesn't ask the questions later is sign you chose the right woman.
she made her peace with several things about me. So yeah, I'm really annoyed at this sun bleached top of Mario's head. If you saw it, you guys would fucking throw up. I swear to God. But yeah, I'm doing okay.
No offense, Evan, you went to the vest and all of a sudden you pulled something straight from the chest and there was two of them. I was like, what is going on here?
It was too many things at once. I do admit.
I thought they were. I thought they were pixel nipples for a minute too.
Is that the name of the late night version of this podcast?
Excellent. Well, yeah, one version of it. That time I
Yeah.
got so trashed last August.
Yeah, it's
That'll
a
never happen
shame.
again.
It's a shame my yoga pants didn't come in the mail because 1 sub equals 2 squats.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that tattooed on my somewhere. I'm thinking where 1 sub equals 2 squats.
You just get the
Okay.
tattoo where it has the most impact, you know? Keith, how are you?
We haven't done Dan
You're
yet.
dead yet.
That's okay.
I'm slightly tired. I would like to say how much I love my wife. She's an amazing person.
What did you
and
do
isn't-
yesterday?
Nothing.
He let her watch Wimbledon. That's what he did.
I don't let my wife do anything. I don't believe in coercive control. That's a form of domestic abuse. No, for not getting annoyed with me at waking up at 7:30 on a weekend to talk shit with you idiots.
Oh no, she's okay because we like Wimbledon, so it's all good. Let's just say Wimbledon all week. Worst game mechanic, Wimbledon.
The tennis has actually been quite good.
It has been good, actually.
Poor Andy though, and poor Serena.
Oh, he was useless though. Let's be honest. I thought he was going out.
I watched his
He's
new
just too
documentary
unfit.
on Amazon Prime though. It was a very interesting one to watch.
Does he come across as a miserable bastard all the time, or is it just when he's on the tennis court?
No, in that one actually, you kind of see a different side of Andy Murray, which kind of made me feel really bad for him.
He's matured a lot though. He's less of a miserable bastard than he used to be.
That's
true.
true.
He at least kind of acknowledges the crowd now, whereas before he just used to like put his middle
Yell at
finger up
himself.
the wall.
Yeah,
It's weird. It's weird. Just standing there on court yelling at yourself like you've got some demented invisible twin that's forcing you to serve badly.
McWobble, as a tennis player, I kind of talk to myself sometimes too when I'm frustrated and I can't get something to go in.
Yeah, but Andy Murray takes it to a specific level that I'd find weird and somewhat distracting. Then there's all the memes about him. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm just playing at Wimbledon again. I'm so happy.
Very convincing, Mr. Murray.
Yeah. Dan, how are things with you?
Yeah, good. I've got 2.5 weeks to go until I officially never have to travel to Skegness ever again.
Lovely.
My commute will be changed from 2 hours to 5 minutes. So I'm very excited about that. And I get to have a nice summer break.
It's quite the swing.
So that's very exciting.
5 minutes. Jesus.
Yep. So so just looking for counting down the days really now, just winding everything up, trying to get everything finished. But looking forward to the summer. Looks like I won't be going anywhere, so that's a bit disappointing. Bloody COVID, but that's just life at the moment.
The thing about this that people in the rest of the world won't understand is that our government here have made a big deal about if you get double vaccinated. We have our green list of countries that you can go to. However, and most of the countries on the green list don't want us going. So if you want to go there,
because
you might
the Delta
not get
variant.
let in.
Hilarious. My friend came over from the US actually for my birthday last weekend, and he was here for 4 days. He's a mentalist. He had to do 2 tests while he was here, and then he flew back on the Monday. And then on the Tuesday, we got a knock on the door, and the track and trace people turned up and said,
Wow.
"Do you have William Ryle staying with you?" And we're like,
Wow.
"Yes, but he's now currently back in Texas." So I was like, "He left yesterday, so you might want to talk to your immigration."
The fuck? Come on now.
And they're like, "Oh, okay, thanks." They just crossed them off the list.
Wow.
They are tracking
Weird.
and tracing them to make sure they're self-isolating properly. But yeah, no problems. That's the weird loophole though. You have to isolate in place for 10 days, which was my house, but you can leave within those 10 days. So it just kind of makes the whole thing a bit ludicrous.
Wow.
Well, not necessarily. If you're like, he was coming to visit you, but like most time if you go visit the UK, you're like gonna go explore.
Yeah, no, I get that. And what I'm saying is that, surely he's not isolating then because he has to get from my house to the airport and back.
And on a plane full of people.
And on a plane. Obviously, he had to do PCR test and things, but before he got back on the next plane back to the US. But then obviously coming back to the US doesn't have to isolate at all because he's double vaccinated as a US citizen. So it just makes it quite funny, really. He said there were 6 people on his flight from the US to the UK and 5 on the way back.
6
But
people?
why are these
Damn.
airlines flying their planes?
Man.
How they like just
Wow.
losing money.
Did he get to do gymnastics on the airplane because there's so much space? Did he get to lay out and just go like, I get 7
Yep.
seats to myself?
I've done that one time on a plane ever. There was 3 seats to the right of me. I'm like, oh my god, I'm fucking lucked out for this 12-hour plane ride back to the States. Savor it.
Yeah.
Never happen again.
But anyway, apart from that, you're really well. Had a good weekend, and looking forward to chatting video games with you guys.
Good. Are we all right to move on and talk about beers?
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're going to be here for bloody ages.
Yeah.
Aren't we always just here for bloody ages anyway?
It's yeah.
sometimes longer than others.
Yeah.
Right. Who's got beers?
I do. All right, so tonight I am doing Wasatch Polygamy Porter. It's a nitro porter. So this beer
I love nitro porters.
This beer is brewed right outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. Hence the name Polygamy Porter.
Just a jab, taking a jab.
Yeah, it actually used to come in a different can. They've updated it recently, but yeah, it pours pretty nicely. It's pretty smooth. Doesn't have the constant filtering like a stout does, but I like it. It's decent.
Burkhoff juice.
Rich and malty. Yeah.
What's the ABV on that?
6%.
Oh, okay, it's quite high for a porter.
Yeah. Chocolate, creamy, and toasted.
Yeah, not be my kettle of fish.
Evan.
I'm drinking. So I do the kind of bi-monthly delivery service from Mino, and this is the Mino beer, Kozaru IPA. Kozaru just means like baby monkey. And he's got a little hops on his head, drinking
That's
a beer.
awesome.
Actually, every single beer up here is all from Mino. All of them have the monkey on them because Mino's famous for monkeys. So this is a lower in alcohol IPA. This is 4.5%.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just a really drinkable, flavorful IPA. Nothing like amazing about it, but it's a nice lower ABV IPA, and yeah, very drinkable. A proper sesh beer, brah. So yeah, it's good.
Mitch, do you have any interesting beverages?
Nah, not this time.
Okay, let us move on swiftly into talking smack about video games.
Good stuff.
Because we're all a bunch of crybabies because we don't like weapon degradation.
100%.
You wanna?
No, it's okay. You don't have to play it again. And we don't like fun. It gave me the idea to talk about. Oh well, actually, I had this idea before that. I don't know why I'm giving Evan credit for anything. The idea to talk about video game mechanics that are common and we hate them. I've got many to talk about.
Yeah, I've got a whole list too.
One thing I would say is this isn't going to be another episode of Keith talking about how much he hates loot boxes, because I'll just throw that one out there.
Sure. Primer it.
Yeah. So loot boxes, yes, the world is better off without you in it. I know it earns the video game industry a lot of money, but they're scummy gambling mechanics. There we go. That's me done on that. That's all I'm going to say. Matt, since you've got a list, would you like to go next?
Yeah. So weapon degradation was the top on my list. That's the
Me too.
it's the most annoying one, I
Say
think.
it properly. Weapon degradation.
Oh. I thought there was another way to pronounce it in the Queen's English that I didn't know about. But But I think next up is a crafting system that you have to take multiple items to create, and not like it's a whole laundry list of things and then you make the item. It's I have two things. I have to combine these to make this thing to combine with this other thing to then make another thing, and you have to like the steps. You know what I mean? To get like refined elements.
For a man who likes beer and the alchemy of and chemistry involved with that, the fact that you don't like complex crafting systems is somewhat confusing.
And also, they likes RPGs. It's like a staple.
So what I do like in crafting systems is here is the list of things that you need to gather together. Once you have all those things, you put them together and get the item that you're trying to make. It's very difficult for me to keep track when it's like, well, these two things make this thing that then needs to combine with this other thing that. Yeah.
Do you have a specific example of a game?
No Man's Sky used to do it. I don't know if they've updated it at all, but
Diablo kind of does it with their ruby systems. Because
yeah.
you need then 2 opal rubies to make a emerald ruby or whatever.
How can you make an emerald ruby?
Not emerald ruby, sorry, round. sorry.
Just crush it in your hands and
sorry, I'm getting
wait.
everything. So you start with like a teardrop, and then you get square, and then you get like
right,
or whatever, and you need all of those and so many each time to like then level it up to get them there.
I
So
think those game
that's
mechanics.
a small example.
I think those game mechanics can work. I think it's just the only factor that really comes into people's frustration is the UI or the system of how it's implemented within the game. Is it easy enough for someone to understand of going, okay, I need these items to make this item and this item to make this item.
Yeah.
How complicated is it for me to get to point A to point B using the menu system that they provided me? That's, I think, is the make or break for a system like that. For me.
Or just like show me what I need. Like I'm playing the Breath of the Wild DLC right now, and I'm getting back into Breath of the Wild. And like, all right, let me upgrade some of this gear I have. But you have to go directly to the fairy fountain, and then this sounds like fake video game shit. Go to the fairy fountain and upgrade your materials. So you go there, and only then can you see what you need. It's like, put it in a menu, so that when I'm traveling around the world, it's like, wait, what did I need again for the upgrade?
Mitch, can we kick Evan off the show because he said something bad about breathing in the wilderness?
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say
this is a good thing. You guys don't like this game.
I was about to say, like, he was playing DLC for a game that, even with DLC, still isn't a game. Interesting.
A game that you can play for over 100 hours? Yeah, that's not a game. And the DLC
Twice.
10 hours.
But Evan, how many weapons have you lost in your DLC blunder?
So
Thousands.
I'm replaying the DLC because I played it all on the Wii U years ago. So I'm replaying it. I broke a couple of weapons, but you know.
It doesn't matter because you can try a hammer or a different sword. As a shut up, I don't care. I literally do not care about it.
Wise words. That must be one of those like quotes.com things going on.
But talking about breathing in the wilderness, a game mechanic which has become very common, which I despise, stamina meters.
Climbing, especially climbing related stamina meters. Fucking hate it.
It appeared
you're
in a
not
Souls
wrong.
game, therefore it has to be every fucking where possible. Because if it works for Dark Souls and it works for Bloodborne, it has to be in the new Zelda game. There'll probably be a bloody stamina meter in Metroid Dread.
This is where I'm going to disagree with you, Keith.
I hate stamina meters.
I'm okay with... This is the one thing I'm okay with Zelda doing, which is the stamina meter in Breath of the Wild. I know, I can't believe I'm saying that. Please don't cut off my legs. I know. But
I think it takes entirely way too long to level it up, because once you get it leveled up, it's decent.
True.
It's not as intrusive and it's manageable, but
what I do think the stamina...
Could you imagine?
No. I was gonna say what the stamina meter does offer you, and I think that's what makes when you do it right, and this is what Breath of the Wild did right. it creates it allows if you're gonna allow free climbing everywhere in the world, then I think a stamina meter is needed, because then it helps show your limits as a player of like what you can and can't reach, and have to be creative on how getting to a different location.
I agree.
Or
That's
or
why
you
it's
can
there.
just let me be a badass and just roam everywhere.
No,
Yeah,
but
could you imagine
if you're a badass from the beginning, then like, what's the carrot on the end of that stick?
Being even
The
more
carrot
of
on the
a
end of that stick
badass.
is being more of a then just fucking mod the game at that point. And like,
Burkoff, you're
like,
just
like
talking.
Rafa said.
You're just talking about DB. You're just talking about Dragon Ball Z. It's like Goku's always gonna get stronger. There's always another Super Saiyan.
Yep.
There's another Super Saiyan level. It's just like, no, it's not. It doesn't get as exciting anymore when
I
you're
think-
like you're breaking the fucking universe. Like it's like you
I
can't
think I
get
would-
higher than that.
I think I would prefer them doing like gear unlock related climbing, as in you can climb this
Yeah.
because you're at this level, but you can't climb this type of rock because you don't have the right gear for it. Rather than I'm halfway up the cliff, oh no, I've fallen off because I've run out of stamina. It's like, fuck off.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's not
Find
real
the
life.
I
item.
get what you're saying, but unfortunately, because of how Breath of the Wild is, they can't get past 3 different texture colors to be able to create that for you in that game.
How dare you? Also, you can make stamina elixirs. So if you have the right goods, like you get this high on a mountain
But
that
you
you're
have to have
probably
the-
not supposed to be climbing.
With that cookie
Do you-
mechanic they don't explain in the game, that sometimes you don't even know, where I was eating
Not
raw
needed.
I was
To-
eating
totally fine.
I was eating raw materials
works.
trying to cross the frigid cold the first time around when I didn't even know I just needed to cook something. Oh my god.
They teach you about cooking stuff to brave the cold and the hot on the Great Plateau, because
Yeah.
the
They do.
When
the
you
last
talk to
one
the
is
They do
other
in the
guy.
demo.
in a cold
But
area.
you can
Yeah.
walk by
Yeah.
it and not realize it. That's the issue. Bless you.
Bless you.
Yeah,
See,
I
Dan,
guess so.
Dan's allergic to Breath of the Wild. We need to move on.
Hey, to be honest, I played it and I gave it back to my friend. My to be fair, Evan, my mate Sam, who's also in Japan with you, is a massive lover of Breath of the Wild, and he was highly offended. He lent me it, and after like 10 hours of gameplay, I just handed it back to him. He goes, "Did you finish?" I was like, "No, I've had enough."
Only
Weapons breaking just pissed me off.
only white people who wear glasses and live in Japan can appreciate Breath of the Wild to its fullest.
Damn it! I only meet 2 of the
Proven.
criteria.
Can we just stop slagging off Breath of the Wild? I mean, it's the
But there's-
second greatest game that's ever been made after any of the Yakuza franchise.
But all the
Yeah.
all the gaming mechanics are so solid. It's the reason why it got 10s, right?
Is there encumbrance in breathing on Zelda in the wilderness? Not creepily at all.
There is not encumbrance, thank God. That is one
Thank
mechanic.
God, because I hate encumbrance.
Sorry, you don't have enough item slots to be encumbered.
Is it, Matt? You look like a guy who has played Skyrim a lot.
Yes.
How's encumbrance served you?
I usually craft potions to get around it, or buy those potions as soon as I find them in shops. Because inevitably it's going to happen. You're going to hit a dungeon, you're going to go through, and you're going to be right at the exit, and the last thing that you pick up, you're like, shit, I can't run anymore. Can't fast travel.
Oh, I fucking hate
I
that.
fought a dragon that way. I fought
Fucking
the dragon
hate
that
that.
way. I was like, I couldn't move. I put myself in a corner and basically hid myself and just tried to shoot it with bows and arrows. And God, I was
Yeah.
frustrated.
Yeah.
So you don't eat 400 sweet rolls.
Well,
give me
right,
one
so
more.
yeah, you either do that, or you just like frantically search for like, what's the one thing that I could just fucking drop to move on?
Well,
Matt,
no,
just
for-
give me a
for-
magical bag of holding, and
Right.
I'm done with it.
No, see, Burkoff, I'm not that guy. I'm like, I must sell everything. Therefore, I will keep jumping, and then I'll find a hill where I can jump downwards and just keep jumping down and down and down.
Get that momentum until you hit the town.
Right,
so you can sell your
exactly,
shit.
exactly, and sell my shit.
That's a solid strategy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
I
will say
hate when I
fighting a
have to drop
dragon is not
shit.
easy in that style.
No.
Yeah, that used to piss me off in Fallout as well. Fucking hell. Oh, you've run
yeah.
out. You're weighing too much. Fuck off. I just want to pick up this gear I've spent ages to get to this place. Now I have to
Yeah.
drop half the shit I've collected. Fuck off.
And it's not as if you're not already carrying an
That's what I was about to say.
imaginable
It's
weight
not
of
like
stuff.
inordinate
I'm
amount
already
of
carrying
shit. Yeah.
a unrealistic number of items. Like it's not like all this armor on me and somehow I have pockets to be able to fit all the food and I got 7 axes. Where do they come into play?
Yeah.
And then it's just like a little bottle cap.
Yep.
All right, you cannot move
Oh,
faster than a
crap.
snail's pace anymore because of that bottle cap you picked up. It's
Yeah.
very arbitrary. Yeah.
And like the bottle cap's worth like $500,000 and you're like, Jesus Christ, it's like a rare bottle cap and you're like, why?
I can't drop anything.
And then
I'm
the
just
worst
gonna
part is
walk-
you drop it, you lose it.
Yeah, that's the other thing that pisses me off in games. They make you encumber it and then you drop it and it doesn't stay there. That's kind of that upsets me, but at least if it stays there, so I can come back for you. When you drop it, oh, it's gone now. What the fuck?
You know why
Yeah.
Pokemon was so amazing? Because when your party's full, it sent it to the box for you.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
yeah.
That revolution was amazing.
It's
Very
actually-
little
Play.
things like that.
That's one of the issues that I'm having with demons with demons in Pokemon, the Shimigami Tensei 3.
Oh.
Oh, you can't.
Because you
can't
can
do
only
that.
have 12 demons in your party at a time.
And you got nowhere to send them.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it just is like you try to talk to another demon if you don't realize that your party's already full, and he's like, or she is like, oh, I can't join you. You've got too many people
fair,
right now.
Relating to Pokemon, the best thing
Oh,
they ever
there's
did
no
with their
option
game
to
mechanics
switch.
was when you could actually access that box remotely. The worst thing was when you had to go into the Pokemon Center to a computer to switch Pokemon out. So you just never bothered. You're like, I can't be asked to stick with my team.
Nah, actually,
Right?
it was fine the way it was. Like you didn't have to be able to access it with because you always are going to go to the Pokemon Center anyways to heal your Pokemon. So it's like it's just a convenient place to put it. Like where else would you
I
put
don't know.
it? then?
I preferred it. No, but I just preferred it just being on you and like just going.
Yeah.
If it's sending there automatically after the battle, why can't you just pick it up from you? When they actually added that in, that was making life much easier. I could actually switch out on the fly.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy how we're in 2021 and there's still games where you open a chest and it's like, oh, you have too much stuff. It's like, why do you not give me the option to switch something out for this? How like
That's what
clearly
they did
that's
with
an easy thing to implement.
I
It's-
remember
understand.
the original Deus Ex, where you had a specific number of inventory slots, and you basically had to play Tetris with the stuff.
Yeah.
So that
Resident
you could
Evil is
fit
like that
stuff
too.
in. What is a Resident Evil?
Don't
don't
do that.
understand.
Don't do that. Don't do
Um,
that.
But that's.
I think
that
Deus
makes-
Ex is a much better example. Don't get me wrong.
Thank you.
but,
Thank you.
yeah.
Resident Evil is going to be my Tiananmen Square. I'm not going to let you go there.
in front of the tank.
I might actually play Resident Evil 7 because it's available on Game Pass. That's my one per show. So I quite like that idea. If you're talking about inventory management, because I really hate inventory management, I'm going to get onto a different.
That's
game
quite a long time. We've gone 40 minutes off without Keith mentioning Game Pass once. So yeah, good job.
It's probably because I'm a bit tired and slightly hungover.
Yeah.
Technically, it's only been 30 minutes. There's been a 5-minute break
okay.
of us being on the stream. But I will piggyback off you, Keith, just a tiny bit. Is I think I understand your hatred for it, but one reason why I love the remake of Resident Evil 2 is because they offered the option to combine your items. So, like, say my inventory was full, and I wanted to pick up an item and say I could combine that item with another item that's already in my inventory, it allowed me to do so. So like things like that were help deal with the cumbersome issue of it. But for me, overall, I do love inventory management, especially for a game. I know you're talking about Deus Ex, but for someone like Resident Evil, it almost works perfect in regards to managing your items, and also at the same time, it's also in a way of because you use item slots to have health, it is in a way of keeping you in check in regards to not having unlimited health on you at all times, to be able to constantly heal yourself.
You think?
And I think the final thing is that
Sorry.
like one of my advices I always give to people that play Resident Evil games, and I say is, everyone is like, oh my god, I got health, and I should always bring 2 herbs with me whenever I go out. And I'm like, no. You only bring 1 green herb with you whenever you leave a save station. You know why? You're always going to find another one, and then you can combine it and save yourself a slot. It's like, it's that kind of like strategy of being like, okay, what space do I need to leave left over, and risking it. It's risk management, and I love that kind of stuff. It's great. So
Before Dan says something, I just need to tell Matt off for not paying attention. Matt,
Yes.
Matthew, why are you not paying attention on the show? Why are you posting to Facebook whilst we're talking? Surely you should be paying attention, Matthew.
I wasn't posting to Facebook. That's weird.
I just had a Facebook post pop up from you.
Keith,
When does it say that I
Keith,
posted it?
why are you on Facebook while we're on the show?
It was a notification that popped up.
I'm sorry.
So
is it Keith or is it Kenneth? Kenneth?
Don't start. I've been called worse things though. Dan,
I could think of. I was going to say that I kind of get where Mitch is coming from, but it seems a bit odd that they've gone to the trouble of letting you combine an item you're picking up with an item in your inventory, just to make you unencumbered when if they didn't have it anyway. But I do get to see the strategy side of it if you're playing that kind of game. But surely that should be like a accessibility option. Like if you want to play the game with being able to pick up as much as you want, you should be able to play it that way. And if you want to play it standard, whatever, like the games are so advanced now, I don't know why you couldn't have it in both options. And then people who don't like that way of playing don't have to.
The balance of the game would go out of whack.
See, now you're talking crazy speak. Next, you'll be
that's
saying that
for
the
you
Souls
personally.
games deserve
No.
an easy
The actual game balance would go out of whack.
If you could carry everything, then the game would be much easier than it's supposed to
But
be.
why
I
is
think.
that a problem?
I think it just kind of breaks the way the
Why?
game
It breaks
is.
tension.
It's
Like,
structure.
the whole point is the
But why
game
does
is
it break the game?
No, it breaks the game because because the game is about survival horror and tension. And you lose tension when you have understanding of, I have 1,700 herbs in my back pocket. I'm never gonna die. I have 500 bullets in my inventory. I'm never gonna die.
But then you just limit ammo dropping, don't you? And herb dropping and inside the game itself.
But then it's still being cumbersome.
No, it's not.
I think-
because you're not. You can still pick up everything you find. So
I
then
think
those people
ma-
who want to hunt for things can pick up everything they find, and those people who just want to rocket through and just find what's on the standard path don't miss out on those opportunities.
I think the designers think like making those decisions, those hard decisions, is part of the game, like at the root level. And like I get what you're saying, but I'm guessing like they would probably offer that counter argument to say like, no, this is
You're battling
But-
genetically
but what
engineered
I'm saying
zombies
is-
with a shotgun.
It's not. But what I'm saying is, and what I'm saying is, it's not really hurting anyone because everyone who wants to play it like you and Mitch can play it like that, and anyone who just wants to experience the game can experience the game. It might not be the experience that it should be, but these people are probably not going to review the game. They're just going to play it for enjoyment. Actually, it'll probably improve game sales. That's
But I
just
guess in their
my
mind, it's
2
more
cents.
of like, games is an art, and
It's a purist
and-
thing. That's what it is.
No, it's
It's
not.
a- well, no,
It's not necessarily.
elitist.
It's not.
It's elitist and
No,
purist
it's not
thing. Yes.
necessarily that thing. No, not at all. It's that
Just the kind of sentence.
when designers are making a game, they have this specific thing in mind on how the game would. And I know people hate the word should be played, but it's a mentality of like, this is the rules that they're offering you, and this is how you work around those rules to play the game. And it's supposed to allow for opportunities to have controlled moments where, in regards to like we're using Resident Evil as the example, to create tension, because the game is a survival horror game. It's not an action game, or it's not a walking simulation game. It's a survival horror game. So like if all of a sudden you give that free reign like that, all of a sudden you're changing the game's complete. You're flipping what the game is. It's not. It turns from a survival horror game to just a
We're
pure
going,
action game.
Dan, don't stop talking. We're going to move on. We've spent enough time talking about this.
But I get your point.
You did say don't stop talking, but I didn't.
I
you
said
said
don't,
need to
full
talk,
stop,
and then
stop
I know.
talking.
That's what I thought. So I did.
So next on my list is randomized loot drops.
Okay.
That pisses
Now,
me off
any
as well.
Diablo fan is going to
Yep.
hate me right now.
No,
Um,
I'm a Diablo fan. I agree with you.
Because I get pissed off, and it kind of links back to the inventory management thing. And I don't know if I hate inventory management because of this, but I had this when I was playing. I had this when I was playing Outriders. So you get achievements in Outriders, and you get new skins and whatever. Who cares anymore? For using the different weapons and killing enemies with the different weapons. So you've got 1,000 kills with an auto shotgun. And you're using one, and you've crafted stuff, and then you get one that's a common one that does 3% extra damage and has got a plus 2% chance of doing a critical shot. I was like, fuck off. Right. Seriously, if you're going to give me this type of thing, make the drops meaningful. So if you're going to beat a boss, okay, I understand the whole point is if you beat the boss, you get better gear. But so basically, what you're saying is all the rest of the stuff that I've been using for the rest of the time is junk, and the only stuff that's any good is the stuff that you get from doing quests or beating bosses. So I might as well just ignore everything else and just trash it all. But you're making me spend time going through marking stuff in my inventory as trash because you made it trash in the fucking first place.
I think that's kind of what put me off of Borderlands 2. That's the reason I never got through that game.
For me,
yes, Dan, you may speak.
Sorry, for me, it was the original Destiny. So you got all the way to the level cap, and then you had to actually do anything more. You had to wait for like endless loot drops to get the fucking light points. So then you could level up in the new system. And it wouldn't even be what Keith was saying. You'd fight the boss, and you'd get something that was worse than what you already had on you. And you're like, I've just wasted 4 hours of my life. The amount of frustration that was. Oh, the random loot drops are the worst. And I do agree with Keith, the stuff with the bosses is irritating, but that just made no fucking sense.
Yeah, it just feels like you're dragging stuff out, or you're putting something extra in just to pad.
Yeah.
Or so they. Oh, but then there's a store that you can go to, and you can sell all the stuff that you've got, and then buy better stuff. No, just make it like Mass Effect, where if I unlock something, it's either demonstrably better or demonstrably different. So yes, in the original Mass Effect suffered from this a bit, where you get the various different. The original Mass Effect more RPG than the latter's. Suffered from this bit, but do you know what there was in the original Mass Effect? A limited inventory, so you could have 400 shotguns.
Yeah, that's true.
If you wanted, and then sell all the crap that you didn't need. Yeah, I really hate randomized loot drops. Good night.
Yeah, it's a bad one. Like 1% something versus 2%. Like why are they both of these things?
Yeah,
it's just it's annoying. It's adding.
All right, Evan.
Annoyance.
Speaking of annoying, what have you got next?
Okay, I'll throw one out here, and I have a couple on here. I don't know if we have time for all of them, but regenerating health.
We have all the time you want.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And that's all we've got time for this week. Thank you very much.
Fuck it. Yeah. Let's close the episode so we can just drink and get drunk.
I will be back drinking later on this afternoon when the rugby's on.
Yep.
Fair enough. All right. Regenerating health as a mechanic that was popularized by Halo. It has its place. It works fine in Halo, but at some point in games, and I remember Yahtzee doing a episode or whatever, the zero punctuation on Resistance 3, which at the time, like every game had regenerating health, and he was so happy that finally I'm getting into this fight and I have 100% health and I have to scrounge for health. I have to kill enemies to get extra health, and I can't just hide behind a wall and wait for my health to regenerate. And it completely changes the way that you play the game. Not for every game, of course, but I don't think a game like Doom 2016 would be the same game it is if they didn't go back to the old school. You have to pick up health. You have to kill enemies to pick up health. You're constantly moving around the battlefield and that. And
Pretty sure your shield regenerated though, didn't it? No, I'm sure it did. Something regenerated.
I don't. No, I don't think
okay.
it did. I think shield was a pickup as well. And I just think
right, it was a pickup because you killed things and it flew into you. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it didn't. The thing about regenerating shields is that you got into this loop where like, and it still happens in games today where like, my shield is down to 5%. You just hide behind whatever cover you're in because the AI isn't smart enough to like flank you in any way, and you regenerate your health, and it just seems like a cheap way to beat the AI. Whereas if you don't have that, you have to use more things in your toolbox or like traverse around the little arena that you're in for your whatever fight it is. And yeah, like I guess it worked in Halo. I don't know. I wasn't a big Halo guy, but I think that a lot of games held on to regenerating health in a bad way, and I think some games are worse off for it.
Well, Call of Duty would be very different.
Yeah, it would be very different.
Uncharted would be really different.
Uncharted, yeah.
So
regenerating health.
I'll bring up Mass Effect again because your body shield in Mass Effect regenerates, but your health doesn't.
Yeah.
So this is where Dan got really confused and didn't know how to use Medigel for the first half an hour when he was playing.
Yep.
So you do actually have
such a noob. Just kidding.
I don't care.
Well, but like you're going back to a game that you're expecting one thing because we're in 2021, but it's some sort of middle ground between regenerating health and no regenerating health, and you're like, I'm not used to this mechanic. I do understand.
You know what threw me off of Doom is because obviously the different ways you kill things, you get different drops. So if you kill things a certain way, you get health. You kill something a certain way, you get shield. That's what was in my head. I was like, obviously, I was killing and getting health straight away.
It was it was so refreshing because we had gone through such a long period of regenerating health in every game that they went back to like old school games where you didn't get that. You actually had to find it in the level or kill enemies to get it, and it felt refreshing in a way.
I think if it's not regenerating, I'm much more of a fan of it dropping in a certain way when you're killing things.
Well, you're rewarded for killing the enemies.
Massive like survival horror and shit like that. But the worst thing is when you got like no health and you're literally just like stealthing around the fucking map trying to find a fucking first aid kit, and it basically just breaks the game for me.
That is true.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah,
that is the other side of that. Yeah,
it works in some genres and not others.
Yeah.
Right. Like RPGs in particular, like I can think of plenty of times in Yakuza where I'll have like just a bit off my health and I'm like, oh fuck it, I'll go eat a beef bowl. But it just takes that much longer. Like why am I doing this? Like they only took me down like a couple of hits, like, but I'm neurotic and I have to have full health. So
yeah, that's your problem.
Or for me, it's like a few boss battles in Yakuza. I literally just stored up on all the stamina X's, and literally that's how I got through the battle. Was not because of my skill, is because I just kept healing myself over and over and over and over and over again to the point where I survived.
Okay.
Well, cheesing the systems in the game isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
No. They're there for a reason.
Matt, going back to your thing on crafting, one game that I think does crafting brilliantly is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I so much agree.
The next thing that I was going to say annoys the hell out of me is crafting benches.
Oh, where you have to go somewhere to craft.
No, you have to craft the bench to actually make things.
Just put it in the menu.
Or both, yeah.
Yeah, just let me do it on the fly.
That's what
Horizon Zero Dawn.
So Keith, are you talking about that game, that deserved 10s where the other game that came out at the same time didn't? I think that one's called Breathing of Some Wild.
Wait.
So basically, with the Breath of the Wild, not Breath of the Wild thing, with the Horizon Zero Dawn thing, the reason why I liked it so much was because you were like mid-battle flying about and you could just quickly like craft some arrows and then you carry on again, rather than be like, oh, I'm out of ammo. I can't do anything.
I'm going to have to go to the nearest town to go.
Yeah.
I do like
Stop
that,
what you're
but
doing.
at the same time, what I did appreciate more was The Last of Us, where the actual crafting happened in front of you. Like you actually had to put the backpack down instead of going like,
I
"Oh, I'm just gonna
that.
craft like 20 arrows," and it's just magically clink, 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 and like there's 20 arrows. And I get like, same time, it's like, I think that would have been better in my mind because, you know, half of the battle of Horizon Zero Dawn is about preparation and just making sure you're prepared for the battle of what's ahead of you. And yes, you'll get some surprises, but then I think it would be smart for them to be able to like, okay, I need to retreat for a second. Let me take out my bag. Let me craft some arrows up, and then I can hop back into the battle instead of just like rolling and then midway through I just switch and go clank, 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 clank.
I don't care. It's more fun.
It is more fun.
On the fun side.
I think one way to balance it out would be to.
Haven't I used the F word?
Yeah, you did. I was a bit confused. I thought you didn't like fun, but I guess you do. I don't know.
But there was fun in a game that wasn't made by Nintendo. Is that okay?
As long as it's
there's
besides
exceptions
Mario
to the rule.
Yeah, Mario Party's the
I'll
only
allow
game
it.
that's
Go
fun
in
that's
peace,
made by
my son.
Nintendo.
So the whole thing about is okay. I get the point about
Burkhoff
it.
was going to say something. Don't cut him off.
You know what happens on this show.
Yeah, but he's not part of the main cast no more.
Not?
He might as well be.
I know he broke his one rule.
So the whole point about having your backpack. I just carried on. I'm going to carry on. The pause and okay, I'm being hunted by some clicky mushroom lady. Let me combine explosives and a can of beans. And where do you get explosives from anyway? So they just make it a bit more fun. I didn't find the original Last of Us fun. That's why I shit-canned it. Yes.
I think they did that a lot better in the second one, to be fair. But that's just
Horizon Zero Dawn is better than The Last of Us. Just throwing it out there.
Horizon Zero Dawn's better than a lot of games.
Yes,
including one game of the year.
Matt, what were you going to say? Because I'm really intrigued to see how they could have middle ground.
I mean, I guess we'll never know. No, my thought is just section off certain things that you can craft on the fly and certain things that you can't.
That makes sense.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Maybe you can't make a bajillion arrows, but you can craft something else that, you know, is maybe like a weaker item or something.
I was thinking like a smoke pellet or something that you could throw to the ground to give yourself that retreat moment.
Yeah, I mean, something to balance it out where there's a risk reward.
Could you imagine though if, say, in the Arkham series, Batman had to go to a workbench and craft his batarangs every time he used one?
He kind of already does that.
Yeah, but that's to upgrade stuff. So it's not just oh, I've used 3 batarangs. I now need to go back to Wayne Manor in the Batcave because I need to go and craft 3 more.
But doesn't he already have unlimited batarangs? And then 2.
That's the point. And then, it's unlimited.
Then 2.
And then you upgrade it to be able to throw more.
It's not like Aloy is going to a crafting bench. He can still craft it on the floor.
Yeah,
but the one thing is you can't upgrade your guns without the fucking gun bench. That fucking drives me insane. And you're like, oh, and then you get to it and you're like, I don't want to do it now, fuckers. I want to wait. And then you're like, if I don't do it now, when's the next one going to appear? Because I'm not going to be able to come back to this fucker. That's pissed me off.
The worst of it is having to stop what you're currently doing to go back and get like whatever arrows or whatever it is in your inventory in order to complete what you wanted to do. That's the worst part of it. And actually Breath of the Wild is guilty of that as well. If you run out of arrows in a situation where you need it, you might have to stop what you're doing to go buy them, and it's a huge pain in the ass. Yeah,
Well,
that stuff sucks.
At least in Breath of the Wild, if you're paying attention, and like if you've missed a couple of times or whatever, like those arrows might still be over there. You can go pick them up. Same
Yeah,
with
that's
Skyrim.
true.
It's
That is true.
Skyrim. Like if you hit a tree or something, like that arrow is just going to be there. If you can maneuver your way around, you can grab that and then use it again. So
That's a good way to balance it out because they know that you're gonna try shit to figure out how you get through a puzzle or whatever.
I mean, when
Yeah.
I was
That's a good middle ground.
when I was an archer, because I wanted to be Legolas / Robin Hood in Skyrim, I just focused a lot of my stats on picking up more arrows off my enemies. So I never really ran out of arrows.
yeah, you
I
do
had
hit
it
it.
figured out.
You do hit a point in Skyrim. If you're just always doing archery, you're never gonna run out of arrows.
Yeah, basically I ran, but I also ran into the issue of a really stupid strategy, which is basically have to bob and weave, and then shoot, and then bob and weave more, and then shoot, and then run backwards and shoot. Yeah. I mean, at least it's
Yeah.
better than the sword fighting where you're just like winging your arms, hoping you hit something.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something negative about the Thronebreaker, The Witcher Tales.
Oh wow.
Strap
Hold the
yourselves in.
newspapers. Whoa.
Holy
Whoa.
shit.
So
What can I hold on to? All right.
one of the things you need to upgrade in that game is walking speed.
Oh yeah. That's
Oh,
kidding
yeah.
me?
Walking speed sucks.
Wow. All right. They took it too far.
No run button.
So there's no run button. So it comes back to this kind of thing about stamina. Why are you putting such a basic upgrade behind a in-game paywall? Because you've got to buy an upgrade to walk faster using the in-game gold that you find.
Because they want that money.
Well, it's not a microtransaction. You actually get gold from wandering the world, and it just why it's such a basic thing.
It's funny. Final Fantasy VI is guilty of that because you need at least one person in your party equipped with I think it's
running shoes.
The running shoes.
Running
yeah,
boots.
and
Yeah,
it takes,
that's totally
Yeah.
true.
and it takes up a relic slot too, which is like what
annoying.
the fuck. And at least one person in the party has to have it in order for you to be able to run on the map.
Oh, you
I'll
want to know
forgive that
another
game for being old, but yeah.
You want to
It
know
is
another
annoying.
one that reminds me of this? Pokemon. You
Yeah.
always,
the
you always
bicycle,
have
yeah.
no,
Your
no.
bicycle.
It's not the bicycle. You ready for this? You have to assign a HM to your
Yeah,
Pokemon
originals.
to be able to get
Yep.
past obstacles in the fucking Pokemon game.
But you use one of your attack slots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
So
have
that
to use one of
Pokemon.
your attack
Yeah.
slots for it.
That's
And if
pretty
I'm
shitty.
using Flash,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
So-
fucking use
yeah.
that in battle. Who's gonna use
Yeah.
Flash
Yeah,
in
exactly.
battle? For God's sake!
No,
like,
no,
thank
no.
God, at least most of them were at least competent in battle. But for Jesus Christ, like
yeah. The modern ones don't do that anymore.
the modern
which
ones
is
don't do
nice.
No,
that
they got
anymore.
rid
I'm
of
so
that.
happy they got
Okay.
rid of that. But
It's
that's
like
what
an
it
innate
reminds me of.
ability that you absorb.
Yeah, but I thought they should have had different like attack slots and then like,
Or
any,
just
thingy
assign it to
slots,
the
but-
Pokemon, but then just don't make it take an attack slot. Like Jesus.
I think the idea being, I think they should have. They we'll balance it because otherwise, like for instance, like Squirtle can like do loads of different ones, and they're like, oh, then that stops them just having one Pokemon. They have to think strategically. But actually, what they should have done was have a separate one. Only one could be assigned to each Pokemon, and then still get your attack options. But yeah.
I've
Yeah.
no idea what you lot are talking about. Can we talk about the Thronebreaker again?
No.
Yeah.
No. Pokemon
Walking,
is more
you
important.
gotta walk hard.
Pokemon's
Do we cocks.
Pokemon's more of a cultural phenomenon.
Keith,
frankly.
Pokemon is fun. It's the FUN word.
I remember in 1996, was it? Must be 1996. I got a parcel from my auntie in Hong Kong, and I got these 2 Pokeballs with a Venusaur and a Blastoise in them. And this was pre the games coming out in the UK. And
Oh,
pre-
really? You didn't
pre
even know
the
what they
card-
were?
The pre the
Yeah.
cartoon. And I was like,
Wow.
what are these things? I thought they were really cool, but I didn't know what they were. And then like a year later, the cartoon started. The Pokemon Red and Blue came out in the UK, and yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, see, I was fortunate enough. I got the hand-me-down giant ass Game Boy, like the original honking
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Like you could slap a
White one.
person's face with that thing, and they would have a big bruise on their face because it was so thick. It took like 6 AA batteries. That's how much it like.
It was only 4. Come on.
No,
It
it was
was 4, not
6.
6. It was
It
4.
was
So I've got
8
one in my
AA
drawer.
batteries. It weighed as
Yeah.
much as a
It
10-pound baby.
It was at least
You had to
5
lug it
pounds. It was a
uphill
good
in
5
the
pounds.
Because
snow.
I remember
Both
the reason I know
ways.
that is
And
it
then-
was 4 AA batteries, and then when they brought out the smaller one before the color, it was like a slim or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
pocket.
smaller
That's the one I
pocket,
had.
that's it. I had the pocket,
Same.
and that was 4 AAA batteries. So it went from the AA
Yeah.
to the AAA's.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway, so I had that, and then I do remember as a child that you have the original Game Boy. The Game Boy Color's already out because my cousins got the Game Boy Color, so I got a Game Boy. And so I was like, I got Pokemon Gold or Silver, one of the two, and then I went shopping for more games, and then I got upset because everything was fucking Game Boy Color, and I was like, I can't play anything on this fucking Game Boy. And again, I was a kid, so like I could throw a fit back. then.
Oh, totally.
The OG
I
Game Boy.
I cried.
The
Yeah, I
OG
skipped the
Boy
Game
is
Boy.
amazing.
That's what we
I
do
skip
in
one.
Wisconsin. We throw fits, Evan. That's what we were trained to
I've still
do.
got my Game Boy Pocket, Matt. It's in my retro gaming drawer, and it's
Oh,
still
wow.
got Pokemon. It's still got Pokemon Red in the cartridge slot.
That's. Yeah, I lost mine years ago.
I have a
So-
I have a
no,
gaming
look,
mechanic.
Back on topic.
Stay
Good.
on topic.
Thanks,
Good.
Evan. Thanks, Evan.
Stay on
Go
topic.
for it.
All right, this is something that I think a lot of people, the 4 of you will have opinions on. So I'll say my piece on the matter, and then I'll throw it back to you guys. So, morality choices in games.
Okay.
It was a pretty novel idea, maybe like 10 years ago. So you have BioShock, where you could save the little sisters or absorb their the atom. I don't remember how that worked.
Their
Yeah,
power.
right. And
Yeah,
then
you killed him.
you had the Infamous series, where you could be like a superhero, or you could be famous or infamous. And it was my issue with most of it is because it's just like there's so many limitations to what a game can do. It's like, oh, you can play it twice. It's like, yeah, but like playing it twice means that you might have to like double the work that these developers are doing. And my most recent example of this is playing Second Son, infamous Second Son, where at the opening of this game, you're given like, okay, this guy Delson, like he's a good guy. And then he gets these infamous powers, these superpowers. There is no way this guy is going to start killing innocent civilians. So this whole binary choice between becoming like a superhero or a supervillain
for anyone
makes
who's
no
not,
sense.
For anyone who's not played this, the first morality choice that you are given in that game is to admit that you've got powers to save your adopted family from being tortured, or let them be tortured.
Yeah, the family you've known for your entire life. It is so ridiculous. And so you're just playing this game. Like I got the platinum, so of course I'm like, oh, Delson is like a good guy. He would never do this. So I play the game like Paragon or Superhero or whatever, and then I have to go through a completely 100% evil run of this game to get the platinum trophy. And I'm just like murdering all these people. I'm like, they set this guy up. Like he would never do this. So this whole like, haha, you have a binary choice. You can become evil. It goes against entirely the character you have set it up to be. One of the only games that has gotten around this is a game like GTA 5 that lets you play as Trevor, who is a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
And, you know, Michael is so far up his ass trying to get shit done. Franklin is the only redeemable character of that trio, but at least they tried to get past that complete distance of like, this is not the character that you've built this person up to be. So yeah, like morality.
Are you
choices
saying
are,
that? Well, I think what you're getting at more is the pseudo-narrative dissonance.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Fable is guilty of that too. I mean, you basically have to be a little asshole from the start.
I like how you said little asshole. Like
Yeah, because you start off as a kid. Yeah.
The game's never. Here's the thing. The real world is full of gray. It's not black. It's not
I
white.
should ask.
It's
them. I
all
said that I was using
it's
it.
all gray. So like the fact that what they're doing is they're
No, when you came
literally
in, send me your iPad. Sorry.
No, it's okay. We're just like I was like I'm trying to, but it's like it's all gray. So like the doing the choices of being like it's gotta be this one or this one. It's like no, guys, come on. Like you guys can do a much better job with your game of in regards to like making each scenario be a little bit of gray to make it difficult.
Yeah.
A couple of games tried to do that back in the day with varying degrees of success. So Knights of the Old Republic had a morality meter, and also Dark Forces Jedi Knight 2.
Yeah.
But I think the issue comes into play. It's always the meter of like you're on the light side or you're on the dark side, and like your meter could be in between. But it's like, oh, you only get the cool powers if you're all dark side, or you only get all the cool powers if you're all light side. It's almost as if it's just like, don't reward me for the powers for the choices I make as a person. Reward me for the powers for the experience I get, and let the story play out the way it is with these really tough, difficult choices that I have to make that actually have impacts.
So I think it's really interesting with Knights of the Old Republic though, because
I mean I never played Knights of the Republic, so I can't speak for that as much. So you might have to speak for that for me.
So your morality choices not only influence you as a character in the game, but they also influence your crew members.
Yeah.
So depending on how you answer conversations with different crew members, they can be light or dark, or some characters can only be dark side, some characters can only be light side.
You can push people if they're of a certain persuasion. You can push them further that way.
Yeah.
I like that.
And
I didn't know
same
that's how
same
that
thing
worked.
that you can do in Mass Effect. Mass Effect took this and really ran with it. So you can make good guy Caden Alenko the most renegade space racist that you could ever possibly come across. But you've actually got to go and engage with the characters in that way. So going back to your point, Mitch, you do actually make choices about how you're going to interact throughout the game, not just with NPCs, but your squad mates, so that you can you basically impose your will on them. It's easier or harder to do because you will actually alienate certain members of your crew if you try and.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be, games need to stop doing this whole like, oh, it's gotta be super awesome, or it's gotta be super bad. It's like, that's not how the world works.
Well,
and that's why I think Mass Effect does such a good job of it.
I think the hard thing with that, though, Mitch, is what you're saying is like if you use like Star Wars as an example, that's just the IP itself. If you're super light side, you can like shoot like force bubbles out of your hands, or if you're super dark side, you can fire electricity. It's kind of, you can't really sit on the fence with
It's built into the lore.
Right.
It's built into the lore.
But that's Star
So I feel
Wars.
like-
But like this is every game.
Yeah,
Does
true.
this. It's not
I think
just
maybe
Star
that was
Wars.
the template.
Star Wars definitely
Yeah.
has like the leeway to say, yeah, of course, like that's just how the lore is, and yeah.
It's a tough
So
one,
it-
really. I know what you're saying, but
morality meters can be annoying, but I think where you're given some freedom to make those kind of grey area choices, it is better than just having do I torture my adopted family or do I not torture my adopted family?
Right. Yeah.
Because-
Yeah.
I think
It's like, why would you
for
do
me,
that?
I just
It's
imagine
not a
like
decision.
I was playing Mass Effect, and like here I'm trying to like play it a little bit in the gray zone. I'm not gonna play full Paragon. I'm not gonna play full Renegade, and I've made choices like all of a sudden like ended the conversation. I shot a dude, and I'm like, nah. Even if I was Renegade, like that's kind of pushing the limits there. Of like, would you really do that? No, not really.
So BioWare has this. The issue that they've always had is that
The Han Solo mentality: shoot first.
no, some of the answers that you have to certain conversation options, the answer that you pick is not really the way that the character acts in the moment in the scenario.
That is super annoying. I hate
okay.
that.
So I will give you an example. Mass Effect 1. I don't know if Dan is there yet. Unfortunately, I might have to spoil it for him.
That's all right. Don't worry.
But it's when you go to a certain planet and you find out that they're trying to cure the disease that the Krogan had in regards to not letting them have birth.
I've played that.
And
That's not the first one, is it?
Yeah, it's the first one.
Okay.
Well, they were studying it in a lab of some kind, and so then he's like, "Oh, the Krogan your Krogan person that you're with." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna take that because I need it for my people." And then I think Shepard's like, "No, you're not gonna take that. That's not for us to grab." And then all of a sudden, I was like, the option was stop him. And I was like, okay, yeah, of course I'm going to stop him. Pulls out his gun and shoots him dead, and now I never have him as a character ever again. Like, what?
Yeah, I just wanted to like grab him.
Yeah, I just wanted to like arrest him.
Kill him.
Yeah, the option was not kill him.
It was kill the guy. I can't remember what mission I was on. Kill the guy, or let this like EMP explode and kill all the scientists. And I was like, I just want to kill this bad guy. And then all these people in the lab died, and I was like, oh, maybe I need to speak to them. Oh, well. And you just go in the cell, and all that blood spatter in their brain, patterns on the wall. I'm like, and I went to speak to them, and they, you let them all die? And I was like, yeah, I did.
Yeah,
that was quite fun.
I guess that's one annoying game mechanic about all these, and about the mechanic we were talking about in general. When they don't fully explain what the fuck you're going to be doing. So, like, if I'm gonna kill somebody, I want to know if I'm shooting them or not. Not going stop them and then shoot them and then I go what?
But maybe that's an age thing.
Perhaps.
Has that problem. Isn't that an age thing? 'Cause it's quite an old game. If you think when I was playing a remastered version, but you think like maybe that's like
even when I was a kid, I was shocked by it because I was like, stop him. But like my shepherd was a paragon. He wasn't gonna kill people. When I was a kid, like the experience I'm talking about.
And that comes back to the binary bit. So you in the game, they have to make that. You have to make that choice. The choice is made for you. What you don't know is that making that choice
consequences
kills the person. So
which you should know because you're playing that person.
I don't necessarily agree with that because it influences how you would go back and play it differently on your second or potentially third, for me, playthrough.
Here, Keith.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that one because Mass Effect is great.
Yeah, I know, but using this example,
sacred ground.
Using this example, about the Krogan thing, I would have much more appreciated it if it did like stop him, then he like tried to talk to him. And then he goes, no, I'm set on my ways. And then it goes in like maybe in quotes going like, okay, like obviously I'm going to have to kill him or else he's going to do this. And then you can choose to kill him or not. So that way you're clearly laying out the option and understanding of like, okay, the only option is to kill him if you want to stop him. And therefore you know that what you're doing if you're going to choose to stop him is to pull that trigger.
So I agree and disagree with you as well because there are games that do that, and then I just sit there and I'm like on the fucking decision for like 5 minutes.
But that's the point. That's the great part about the game. It's the gravity. It's there's a gravity to your decision making there.
No, to a certain extent, but to keep like the game and the action going along.
But that's your fault. That's not the game's fault.
No, I think it's intentional because like you'll like, oh, I just pick one. You pick it and you're like, oh shit, and now you're even more invested because you weren't quite expecting what was going to happen.
I was more pissed off. I was not invested. I was more angry. I was like, really? I didn't want to kill him.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
It's like when someone breaks character in a movie. You're like, what? No.
What you do is you save before you think anything's going to happen, and then you go back to your save menu and go, I didn't like that. They
auto saved right when they did it. That's the worst part.
Well,
Yeah.
having their tenants
It
saved.
reminds me of watching the newest Star Wars movie all over again. Just being like breaking character all the time.
Right, final thing. I was in Red Dead Redemption 2, and I was at a camp, and I was leaving the camp, and I saw this animal like running in the bushes, and I shot it, and my fucking meter went to like I was like Arthur Morgan, greatest guy in the world, right? And it like moved to the left. I'm like, what the fuck? And I got off. It was a cat. I shot a cat. I was like, I didn't know it was a cat. But who's judging me? Like, is this like an inner thing where like, oh, I feel bad? By the way, it should be the opposite way. Like, if you shoot a cat, it should fucking bring you up to 100. I was like, who's judging? Like, I remember I followed this guy into the bayou.
Oh,
And I
quick
punched
question.
him in the face, and I just like smashed him, and my morality meter went to the dark side, just a smidge. I'm like, who's judging me? Like, is this God? Is God like, oh, that's bad? It's just one of these weird things. I don't know.
What happened to Stray? Was that a PlayStation game? Is that why we haven't seen it? I'm really confused. The cat one, the cat game with like.
Oh,
The robots. Stay on topic. That will come up.
Sorry.
We're too close.
They reworked it to
I
a dog
actually
game.
have
Still
one
mention
more.
cats.
I have one more mechanic.
Okay.
Timed shit in games that is not timed. So the entire game you're going through and you're like, I don't have to worry about anything. I can go off and do whatever I want and I can take as much time as I want. And then you run into a thing and it's like, all right, you're now timed. You have to do this shit in 5 minutes. I'm like, you've never asked me to do this before. Why
Can you
is
give
it
a game
timed?
example?
Yes, but it is a huge spoiler for The Witness.
I don't care. Go ahead.
So for The Witness, there's a portion that you unlock, and in order to get the platinum trophy, so the rest of the game is you just wandering about doing puzzles at your own goddamn pace. In order to get the platinum trophy, you need this one gold trophy that is to do this thing in a timed manner, and the game doesn't even tell you that it's being timed.
How would anyone
But that's
know
like that's more like
do
not
that?
the game itself. That's more of a trophy thing.
Well, I don't know. It's in RPGs, Final Fantasy VIII. You
Yeah.
have the train sequence. You have to do it in a
Oh,
certain amount of
God.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Just,
Final
like,
Fantasy
cut it.
VII has other shit like that. Yeah, it's just
Oh, I didn't Burkhoff. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII. When you go into space and you have to put in the button inputs with
Yeah.
Sid, I couldn't figure it out, and it's timed, and I didn't get that materia. And
yeah,
that was it. Like, that fucking materia was gone. You had one. Like, I didn't know that
yeah.
playing the game. Yeah, it was just like arbitrary. Oh yeah, you got it. Or when the train crashes into the town, and it completely changes the makeup of the town that you're in. I don't remember the name of it, but there's a timed version or aspect of that is kind of annoying as well.
Yeah.
I guess learn to live with your mistakes, I guess, is the. I don't know.
But the going back to the Ludo narrative dissonance, it's kind of like that in Mass Effect 3, but the opposite way round. So
Okay. Yeah, because
there's all this pressure. We've got to stop the Reapers. Got to stop the Reapers. Got to stop the Reapers. Shepard's got to get back to Earth. Oh, but by the way, I'm just going to go over there for 30 hours and do some side quests.
Yeah.
It's the same with Red Dead Redemption. You can go in that game. You go into the wilderness for like 7 game days, and then you go to your camp, and they're like, "Hey," and they act like it was yesterday. It's like that's just like broken the whole immersion
Yeah,
of
with
the game.
with games like that, it can't be as cohesive as it's supposed to be if you have an open world like that. Yeah.
One thing that I hated about Red Dead Redemption 2, chores.
Oh yeah.
Don't make me do chores in games.
Yeah. Like,
I don't care
there's
how
certain
realistic you're trying to make it. You're just making it boring.
Oh, you don't like
And
going
I
on
don't-
dates or going bowling or buying some clothes or going to the barber shop. You know,
bowling's all right.
do the day in the life. Go some golfing.
Like, don't make me walk as slow as molasses in the camp. Or like,
Oh, that
there's a
really
thing, like,
annoys me as well.
you have to like put the seed. You can like help and you like put this kind of like I don't know, this
It's a flower.
bag of seed. Is it flour? And you just fucking walk so slowly. And you drop it, and there's like you have to do it 5 times. I'm like, who is this for? Who is this for?
It's to
This
push
is
your
for
it's
the
to push your
Midwest,
arbitrary
Evan.
morality meter slightly to the left.
Evan,
And then I shoot a cat, and then all that flour fucking pushing just goes out the window.
Evan,
and I didn't know it was a
Evan,
cat. I
it's-
thought it was like a.
it's for our parents.
Fox.
It's for the people we grew up with. That
I
are
guess so.
all the Midwest people that love their hunting and love to just carry stuff and put it down on the ground. That's the
I'm
life.
good.
That's how you live your life.
I'm good at picking stuff up and then putting it down after walking a distance. And
That's
shooting
that's
cats.
that's the quality of a true American.
That's what I do.
So another game is it a mechanic? Is shrinking horse testicles a mechanic?
Yes. I think
Bez?
it's a feature as well.
On the fact that Red Dead Redemption 2 is full of unnecessary busy work, should we call it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so on the note that someone had to design why you missed the trick, Evan. You should have brought the walking slowly thing when I was talking about Thronebreaker.
Fuck, I'm sorry. I should have brought it back around. Yeah, you're right. Can we do a do-over? All right, everyone. Are you ready to start for another hour and a half?
Meet back here in 25 minutes. We'll do it.
Yeah. Let's do it all over again.
All right, I'm gonna go watch some hot tub streamers.